Hello, good morning. How are you guys doing? Today is Thursday, December 5th, and we will be having our lecture this way because I am not going to be in class today. Today we are going to learn about excretion and the mammalian excretory system. And excretion is the removal of waste products from your metabolism and other unwanted materials. So before we get into the lecture, we have a challenge statement, and I want you to think about whether or not you agree or disagree with the following statement. Urine is made from blood. Now, use only evidence, prior knowledge to support your argument, so let's do a quick review about blood. We talked about this on Thursday. Blood has four main parts, right? It's got the red blood cells that assist in gas exchange and transportation, the white blood cells that work with your immune system, the platelets that clot damaged parts of your blood vessels, and the plasma, the stuff that all of your cells float in. And also keep in mind that excretion is different than elimination, which removes feces and stuff. So go ahead, take a second, maybe pause the video, make a couple of notes in your notebook, think about what you think about this statement, whether or not you agree or disagree. That's my cat, Papaya. Okay, so I'm hoping that at that time you actually did pause and think about it, and we will come back to this statement in a little bit because right now we're going to actually learn a little bit about the excretory system, and then we're going to find out if your hypothesis was true or not. All right. We are also going to be talking about homeostasis and how the excretory system does help keep us in a state of homeostasis. So remember that we're getting rid of the waste products, basically. You're excreting mostly nitrogenous wastes, so urea, ammonia, uric acid, all that fun stuff. These are all things that in high concentrations are toxic to us. Homeostasis is a balancing act, if you will. The goal is to achieve a physiological area maintaining relatively stable internal environment. Of course, you're never going to be perfect on the inside, but you can be stable. And that is something that is achieved through multiple organ systems, including the nervous system, excretory system, and the endocrine system. And they all have to work together for us to achieve that normality. So we talked a little bit about excretion and how it's the liquid wastes leaving your body. But I do also want to point out that it's not just like urine that you can excrete. The excretory system also includes things like sweating. Sweating is a form of excretion where water, urea, and other kinds of salts excrete through your skin. I don't know if you've ever tasted it before, but sometimes sweat can be very salty, and that's why. Also, when you exhale through the lungs, that is also a form of excretion because you are getting rid of the wastes in gas form such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen. Crying is debatable. You're not losing waste when you cry, and it's triggered by emotions, but sometimes it's not, right? Sometimes we cry around a really strong type of gas or a strong smelling thing, like when you're cutting onions. But anyways, let's get back to the subject at hand. Maintaining water contents is a very important part of achieving homeostasis. So the excretory system has to maintain how much water you have and how much water to get rid of, essentially. It does this by something called osmoregulating. So the way to think about this is if we remember osmosis, we remember that the water moves towards higher concentration of salts to try and balance everything out. So that's essentially what's going on inside your kidneys as well, which we will get to. osmosis, is the movement from a solution with low concentration to a solution with high concentration. And that is okay. These are the four main things that your excretory system does. It would be a nice thing to remember. So it gets rid of nitrogenous wastes. I think I've said that a few times now. It controls the water balance through osmoregulation. It also regulates the salt concentration inside as well. And it cleans your blood. So blood does go through your excretory system, and then a lot of the dead blood cells and things will get taken out, and then it goes back. Your blood pumps through your kidneys like several times a day, actually. I couldn't tell you exactly how many times, but it's definitely more than 5. So this is kind of a little chart that we have trying to show how systems like the excretion system can help maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis is, like we said, a balancing act where you kind of just have to make sure everything is good and set for you. And one of those things is removing bodily wastes. Like we said, if you have it in like high concentrations, it becomes super toxic. And these wastes will build up due to metabolic processes, right? The natural breakdown of other materials that you don't need, death of cells, all of these things. And what's cool is that when your body starts to feel a little shaky, your homeostasis is not quite where it needs to be, it will bring it back on its own. It will try to fix it on its own. So it's a passive function. That means that you do not have to think about it. Like, oh, I'm going to think about cleaning my blood, and then it goes and does that. It's something that happens automatically. It happens when you're not even thinking about it, without any effort. I do have a video linked in here. I think I'll just post it to Canvas though, because it's basically what in this GIF, but it's a little bit longer. So here is where you have the contractual vacuole opening up, and you can also see it here in this diagram as well. It does look like that kind of star-shaped thing that we saw on the slide previously. So I recommend checking that video out. It's really cool because you can actually see it in action. And let's move forward back to mammalian excretion. So we're going to dive into this a little bit more detailed, and we're going to talk about the kidneys here. Kidneys are, the main job is to filter out and eliminate the nitrogenous waste, and this is like the main organ, or organs I should say, that do this. We have 2 of them in our body. They're up here, and what ends up happening after everything is filtered out. Okay, so needed materials get sent back into the bloodstream, whereas materials that like we don't need so much, it becomes the urine. So let's focus on the ones that become the urine. So what happens next is it goes into these muscular ducts called ureters, and it pushes the urine down into its next location, which is down here, and it's the bladder. So you have one on this side, one ureter on this side, and on this side. The bladder, right over here, is a hollow elastic organ that collects urine, and of course, the last part is that it is expelled through the urethra. Here's another picture. You can kind of see where the kidneys are on the body up here. If we were dissecting today, this is where you would be looking in your pig as well. It's a lot higher up than I assumed that it would be. Here are the ureters, the bladder down here. You probably also would see the little elastic bladder. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that. Oh, and here are the veins and the arteries that connect into the kidney so that it can filter out the blood. So the arteries come in here, everything's filtered. This is a really cool cross section of a kidney. And then it comes back out, and then, yeah, here's your inferior vena cava, which remember is that main vein that goes to the bottom part of your body, and then it goes, and then it should go back. Yeah, it's a really cool diagram, actually. Okay, kidney anatomy and the function of the nephron. So like we said, the kidney is like the most important part because that's where the filtration is happening. And it's also happening in this section called the medulla, which is very, very, very salty. This helps reabsorb water, and it maintains the correct concentration of salts that is inside your body. And the way that they do this is with this little cell or something called a nephron. Nephrons are the tiny little filters inside of your kidneys, and there's okay, so